From then on, Lily Luca's eyes gradually became dim and turbid. The last shelter was also destroyed, and despair forced her to give up. Lily Luca, who could not resist, could only hide that desire in her heart. Until today, in this maze arsenal, the little human girl met the hero she imagined, and the desire hidden in her heart rose again. If it was this adult, maybe it would be possible. With this thought, Lily Luca finished telling her sad and powerless past. You are trying hard, Lily. Sioran gently placed his palm on the head of the little human girl. Although she had no power, she continued to struggle with her own will. Trying to break through the cage that existed since she was born, trying to break free from the chains that bound her. Like a moth to a flame, again and again, until she was covered with bruises. Even so, this girl still had that desire hidden in her heart. It was the desire for freedom. Leave it to me from now on, Lily. Sioran stroked the girl's hair and told her his decision. You will be a member of the Hestia family in the future. Soon, this family will be famous in Orario and stand at the top of this maze city. You will also get true freedom. He recognized the girl's desire for freedom and her will to struggle for freedom. So, the next step is to return. The target is the Soma family's residence. Lily Luca heard Sioran's gentle voice and felt the warmth from the top of her head. Complex emotions inexplicably ignited in her chest, and her heart, which was dead silent in the past, was jumping for joy. She had clearly decided not to cry anymore, and had long decided not to be weak. All were broken by this gentle voice. The little human girl hugged her hope tightly, her tone choked with sobs. Thank you, Lord Sioran. The girl's freedom was right in front of her, within reach. Without wasting time, Sioran took the little human girl directly out of the underground maze. Arriving at the residence of the Samo clan, Lily Luca's expression became a little fearful and uneasy. Since her parents died, she has left too many painful memories here. For the girl, this is the cage she least wants to come to. But the sad experience in the past proved that she can't escape from here, until now. Didn't I say it, Lily? Just leave it to me. The boy's calm words contained absolute confidence. Feeling the warmth from her hands, the negative emotions on Lily Luca's face gradually dissipated. Yes, it's different now. Lily is no longer the same as before, and has met this adult. This hero who gave her hope. Walking into the territory of the Samo clan, unexpectedly, I didn't see any members. There was only one person in the huge courtyard plowing the land with farm tools, and he completely ignored Sioran and Lily Luca who came in. He is the chief god of the clan here, Suma. Nice to meet you, Lord Soma. This child in your clan will convert. I need your consent, Lord Soma. Sioran said nothing more and directly stated his purpose. Conversion means that clan members transfer from the current clan to other clans. Only with the consent of the chief gods of both clans can members convert. Suemo seemed not to hear Sioran's words, and still silently took care of the plants in front of him. This seems to be a taciturn god, who is extremely homely. If Lord Soma cares about the plants on this land and didn't hear it, then let them all disappear. After all, I have enough funds to compensate you for this piece of farmland. Suma brews divine wine from the plants he grows. Although his divine power is sealed, he brews crazy divine wine through ordinary human processes. Convert, why? Perhaps it was Sioran's open threat that made Suemo finally speak. The male god turned his head and looked at the people who intended to threaten him. Completely opposite to his own loneliness, the boy in front of him had an extremely prominent presence. It seemed that as long as he stood there, he was the center of the surroundings. Then he looked at the little human girl next to the boy, and he had some impression of her. It seemed that she was the child of a couple of members in the family, but that was all. He didn't care about converting, but just asked the reason calmly. Ever since he saw the members of the family addicted to the remnants of the divine wine, Suemo gave up on them. Who was willing to join and who wanted to leave, he didn't care. He just planted the relevant raw materials day after day and brewed his own divine wine. He had no interest in anything other than brewing, and was completely locked in his own world. P.S. Please give flowers, collections, monthly tickets, and comments for the new book, thank you very much. Reading during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Recharge 100 to get 500 VIP points. Recharge now, activity time, September 15th to September 17th. Chapter 30, Eating Outside is Not Enough. After a brief exchange, Sioran roughly understood the character of the male god in front of him. He was taciturn and completely immersed in his own world. If Lily Luca's conversion did not require his consent, Sioran would have taken action directly. Your family is rotten, all because of your ridiculous willfulness. You brewed a divine wine that even your gods would be intoxicated, but you hoped that the members of your family could resist this magic. As a result, after being disappointed, you no longer interfered with the management of the family. You are really willful enough, Suemo. Sioran did not have any good feelings for this god, and of course he did not hate him much. He just thought his willful behavior was ridiculous. His own divine wine affected the members of the family. But he was disappointed and finally chose to give up. Is this the willfulness and arrogance of the gods? As if stimulated by Sioran's words, Suemo raised his head and looked at him seriously. Then dash. Can you resist the temptation of the divine wine? Tisk. Sioran couldn't help but slightly shocked, he was really a willful guy. Then it's okay for me to drink it, you have to agree to Lily's conversion. He didn't care about the so-called divine wine at all. Okay, if you can withstand the temptation of the divine wine, I will agree to the conversion of that child. Suemo agreed without hesitation, he seemed to have an unusual obsession with the divine wine. Lord Sioran, no. That kind of thing must not be drunk. You don't have to do this for Lily. Lily Luca's emotions suddenly became very excited, like a stress response. She had seen too many adventurers who were intoxicated with divine wine, and they all lost their minds. All became slaves of divine wine, living like zombies. The eyes were always filled with greed and desire. Lily Luca had drunk divine wine once. It was just a small sip, but she spent several years in a daze. The thirst that penetrated deep into her soul planted the seeds of fear in her heart. The divine wine has a magic power that even high-level adventurers cannot resist, which also proves how exaggerated Soma's ability to brew wine is. Without any fluctuations in divine power, he made divine wine with his own knowledge and human processes. Lily Luca did not expect that her conversion would be so difficult. Even her parents were slaves of divine wine. Lily Luca was full of fear and hatred for this ominous magic wine. She was not worthy of this lord's doing this. This hero should not touch the disgusting magic wine. Woo! The thoughts of the little human girl were interrupted. She unconsciously covered her forehead, and Sioran flicked it lightly with his fingers just now. Didn't you say to trust me, Lily? Just watch here. The boy's smile was confident and steady, powerfully shattering the nightmare in Lily Luca's heart. The little human girl said nothing more, and placed her two slender palms on her chest. It seemed to be offering sincere blessings and expectations. Sioran smiled and took the divine wine handed over by Suemo. The packaging outside the divine wine was the emblem of the Suemo family, a wine glass wrapped in a crescent moon. It really has the style of their family. Sioran opened the wine jar and drank it all in the eyes of Suemo and Lily Luca. Well, it tastes really good. But that's all. Ignoring the surprised eyes of the two, Sioran said his thoughts lightly. The divine wine brewed by Suemo has a strange sweetness and fragrance, mixed with the fragrance of various plants. You are okay? Sumo's tone rarely fluctuated. It was the first time he saw someone drinking divine wine without being affected. Of course, do you think I will be distorted by this kind of thing? Don't underestimate the human heart, Suemo. Sioran looked at the god in front of him calmly. Now he probably knew some of Sumo's thoughts. Samo chose to abandon his clan members because he was disappointed with their fragile hearts. He believed that no one could resist the magic of the divine wine, which was completely contrary to his original purpose of brewing the divine wine. Samo brewed wine just to provide a reward for the clan members. Perhaps he also wanted to test the clan members, but their behavior completely disappointed the Lord God. He was also disappointed with all the people in the lower world. He believed that their will was just like that and that they could be easily taken away by the divine wine. Since then, Samo has lost interest in everything except brewing. And now a strange boy who broke his long-standing cognition appeared. After drinking his divine wine, he just said not bad. But Suemo was sincerely happy about it. It turned out that the people of this world are not all weak-minded, and some can resist the temptation of divine wine. The divine wine he brewed now is just a defective product. But even so, it has amazing magic. Rather than saying it is a divine wine, it is better to say it is a demonic wine that leads people to fall. Now that someone who is completely unaffected by the divine wine has appeared, Suemo has a little hope again. Seeing through this, Sioran was a little bored and said to the willful god, "Since you have expectations for your followers, then guide them well. You willful god, you must be responsible for what you do." Suma. The male god suddenly realized. I didn't expect that as a god, I would be educated by the people of the lower world one day. Perhaps my initial decision to brew divine wine was wrong. At least, the divine wine is definitely not something that my current followers can taste. So that's it? Suma understood everything. Then, according to the agreement, he agreed to Lily Luca's conversion. At the same time, he also made a decision to hide the divine wine from now on and gradually began to intervene in the management of the family. On the way back to the Hestia family's residence, Lily Luca remained silent. Ever since Sioran drank the divine wine and was not affected, the girl has been in this state. "Lily, are you okay?" Sioran was a little worried. Could it be that she was reluctant to leave the Soma family suddenly? Perhaps, although it was all painful in the past. But it is also true that Lily Luca lived there for a long time. After all, the Soma family is also the place where she was born, and some of these emotions are quite normal. Just as Sioran was about to comfort the little human girl, he met a pair of bright eyes. Her eyes were filled with complex colors, joy of freedom, touching by someone's behavior, relief from leaving the cage. In the end, they all turned into one sentence. "Thank you, hero." Sioran was slightly stunned, and then gently took the little human girl's hand and went home. Ran. It's not enough that you are cheating outside now, you even want to bring it home. My child, your Lord God is waiting for your explanation. Well, the welcome thing happened just after returning home. There were so many slots in Hestia's words that Sioran didn't have time to complain. The inexplicable fantasy world suddenly turned into a family ethics battle? My Lord God is really a fool, Sioran confirmed again. Lily Luca next to him followed him with some fear. After leaving the cage of the Soma family, the only thing she worried about was whether the god in front of her would accept her. If he didn't agree, Lily Luca didn't want to think about that result. She obviously got the freedom she had always longed for. The little human girl now found that the freedom she most desired was the right to stay with the boy. Lily had become greedy, and the girl blamed herself in her heart. Sioran told Hestia about how she met Lily Luca. Although the god girl had a little resentment on her face, she still accepted it. She could see that the little human girl was a good child. Therefore, whether it was Sioran's decision or her own will, she would not refuse the child's joining. Lily Luca I allow you to join the Hestia family. We will all be family in the future, but I have something to tell you. Ran, absolutely, absolutely mine. Hestia still had a little bit of the calm side of the god in front, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Bang. Wuran, you kid have been too disrespectful to me recently. Facing the strong declaration of the god girl, Sioran did not hesitate to give her a knife on the head. Stupid Lord God, don't scare Lily. Then he turned his eyes to Lily Luca, whose face was filled with joy. Welcome to join the Hestia family, Lily. As our stupid god said, we will be a family from now on. Yes. Lily Luca's eyes radiated an unprecedented brilliance, and her soul, which had been wandering for a long time, finally arrived at the harbor of her heart. Pictured is Hestia. Reading during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Recharge now, event time, September 15th to September 17th. Chapter 31 I have a bold idea. After Hestia accepted Lily Luca, she took the little human girl to the bedroom to convert. After a while, the two who completed the conversion came out of the room, and the expression on the face of the goddess girl was inexplicably subtle. The main reason was Lily Luca's magic, Stove Ash Woman. Rare transformation magic. It can transform into any posture and voice similar to its own physique. After the level is raised, it can even imitate the characteristics of other races. When Sioran saw Lily Luca in the underground maze, she used this magic to become a dogman. Although it did not hide from Sioran's eyes, it was also because his level was completely different from that of ordinary adventurers. Lily Luca's transformation magic is enough to deceive most adventurers. In addition, as the level rises, it can also imitate the characteristics of other races, which is also a point of great potential. Although Lily Luca was a little unexpected to Hestia, there was Sioran's example. She was not too surprised, but was just happy that her child could have such magic. However, after Hestia explained the specific effects of Lily Luca's magic, Sioran's emotions began to spread inexplicably. Can it become any race? Elves, cat people, fox people. Suddenly thinking of some clean things, Sioran had a bold idea. But when he saw Lily's petite figure, let's keep her for a while. Ahem, pull back his thoughts. Knowing that Lily Luca's magic has high potential, he is also happy about it. No matter which one. On the way back from the 10th floor maze with her, Sioran also noticed that the little human girl was very familiar with the monsters on the upper floor. And her insight is also very sharp, with rich adventure experience. Thinking of these, Sioran basically determined Lily Luca's position in the family in the future, command. Without the avant-garde and superb melee skills, but with the wisdom and experience of taking a comprehensive view of the overall situation. Can clearly judge the situation on the battlefield and make the best decision in the end. But this is all about the development of Hestia's family in the future. Then, Sioran looked at his lord and Lily Luca and said, "Today is the day when Lily joins our family. Let's have a celebration after a long time, Hestia." This was what he had originally decided, and the place of celebration was naturally the rich hostess. In addition to Hestia and Lily Luca, Sioran also invited Aegina. Of course, he would not forget this half-elf girl who often took care of him. To be honest, Sioran even had the urge to dig Aegina from the guild. But, considering Aegina's character, he gave up this idea. A girl who loves life and nature is not suitable for the blood and cruelty of the underground maze. She is not a person who likes to pursue adventure. Mr. Sioran, long time no see, welcome. The gray-haired beautiful girl still maintained a sweet smile and greeted Sioran gently. Although the tone was gentle, Sioran looked at him with a little anger. It has not been long, and there is another girl beside him. Although it looks small. Long time no see, Seal. You are as popular as ever. Their eyes are about to kill me. Feeling the gazes of other adventurers in the tavern, Sioran teased Seal as usual. "Mo, Mr. Sioran is always so cunning." Seal was a little helpless about his jokes, but the smile on her face became a little sweeter. For her, as long as she could see the boy she liked come back safely, it would be enough to satisfy her. Feeling the gazes of Hestia and the others, Sioran shrugged. He didn't continue to chat with Seal, and came to a table by the side under her guidance. "Lord Sioran. Actually, it doesn't have to be so formal." Lily Lucas seemed a little nervous. It was her first time to come to the tavern. Her previous life had always lived in the shadow of the divine wine and the oppression of the members. There was no time and money to spend in the tavern. She could only lick her wounds silently in a corner. In the future, every member who joins the Hestia family will have such a welcome ceremony. So, enjoy it with peace of mind. Lily, your life is different now. Sioran saw Lily Lucas' uneasiness. It is because of the beauty of happiness that we fear its loss. Lily Luca escaped from the cage that imprisoned her for many years, and now joined the family she wanted to stay. Freedom that was difficult to touch in the past, but it came to her in just one day. This made the little human girl a little worried. But after seeing the tenderness and encouragement in Sioran's eyes, this uneasiness was wiped out. "Yes, Lord Sioran." Lily Lucas' face showed a pure smile. She began to look forward to the future. "I discovered it before, Sioran, you understand the girl's heart very well." Aina beside her said what she had hidden for a long time. "I don't understand the girl's heart, I just understand your thoughts a little bit. That's all." Sioran never thought that he understood the girl's heart very well, and the girl's thoughts were sometimes difficult to guess. "Really cunning." Aina was silent. The earlobes of the half-elf girl turned pink, and she was a little afraid to look at the boy in front of her. Every time she saw his eyes, she would fall into them uncontrollably. He looked like a little brother who knew nothing at the beginning. Really? When did he become so mature and so foul? Aina fell into the memories of the past. "Ran, my child. We are here to eat, not for you to flirt with them." A certain goddess girl spoke, breaking the pink atmosphere around the table. Sioran looked at her own god lovingly, and then ordered dishes. Manager Mia's cooking skills are really good, and Sioran likes their dishes very much. But the portion is always very amazing, which reminds people of Black Shop. This may also be a reflection of the dwarf's generous character, although this dwarf is 1.8 meters tall. On this West Street, the rich hostess can become the largest tavern. In addition to the young and beautiful girl clerks in the store, there is this very distinctive food. Sierra has been sitting here with Sioran and his friends at the wine table. Occasionally, she would leave to serve the other adventurers, but she stayed by his side most of the time. Sierra's eyes were fixed on Sioran from beginning to end, full of joy and satisfaction. Seeing him talking to the members of the clan and the main god Kai Kai, she felt the same joy in her heart. "Mr. Sioran, what are your plans for the future? Is the clan of Lady Hestia really a maze explorer?" After listening to Sioran and his friends' conversation for a while, Sierra was a little curious about the future direction of this clan. "Well, we will definitely be a maze explorer clan. Now there are only Lily and I, and we will probably be in the lower level in the early stage." Sioran confirmed Sierra's words, and their clan would naturally be an exploration clan that focuses on underground mazes. "Ha! Before going downstairs, it's really Mr. Sioran's style. But please be careful in the maze. I want to see Mr. Sioran intact all the time." The beautiful and lively girl did not hide her feelings at all, and her light gray eyes were filled with tenderness. "Don't worry, Sierra, I've been looking forward to your lunchbox." After saying that, Sioran blinked at the girl. Seeing this, Sierra blushed slightly. Her cooking skills are actually a bit bad, although the lunch boxes she makes for Sioran are carefully prepared every time. But how to say it, in short, it's hard to say. But for Sioran, it doesn't taste that bad. With his current body, even a deadly poison can't affect him at all. This metaphor seems to be more hurtful. The girl's feelings cannot be trampled on. So starting from the library, Sioran has developed the habit of tasting the girl's lunchbox. Sierra had eaten it once before, and her delicate little face wrinkled up rarely. Thinking of Sioran eating her lunchbox, the girl felt both sorry and touched. After being stimulated, Sierra honed her cooking skills, and now she has reached the standard. But for the girl, that time was like a treasured chocolate. Under the slightly bitter shell, there is a sweetness that melts people's hearts. Reading during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Recharge now, event time, September 15th to September 17th. Chapter 32, Child, you are blaspheming God. The tavern is a place where all kinds of adventurers gather. For adventurers, besides strength, money, and reputation, the rest is naturally women. I don't know if Sioran is really lucky or Sierra and the others are too beautiful. Some people who don't know themselves interrupted their conversation under the influence of alcohol. The leader is a somewhat sturdy man, and a strong smell of alcohol comes out of his mouth. Sioran narrowed his eyes slightly to isolate the smell of alcohol. Then he looked coldly at this drunken idiot. Hey, isn't this the Sword of Hope? It has been upgraded to level 2 in 2 days. Those gods are also good at spreading jokes. How about I join my team? We are all level 2. The man's tone was full of complacency. As if to confirm his words, the other adventurers in the tavern remained silent. Some adventurers even showed awe on their faces when they heard Leave 2. Leave 2 is indeed considered a strong man for ordinary adventurers. What's more, they are a Leave 2 team. Sioran sighed, always feeling that his luck was up and down. After all, his current reputation is not loud enough, and some cats and dogs dare to come to the door. Please leave, this guest. You disturbed Mr. Sioran and his friend's meal. 11ER stood up from her seat without any fear. Please leave without being humble or arrogant. Ha, Miss 11ER, do you like this kind of stuff? This kind of rookie exaggerated by those boring gods. Sierra's words seemed to have stimulated the man, and he looked at Sioran with disdain. There are many people who have such thoughts. In the past, the gods had done many exaggerated things for fun. Upgrading to level 2 in 2 days completely broke the common sense of most adventurers. Ordinary people sometimes subconsciously choose to ignore things beyond their cognition. As for adventurers, some of them will be jealous, veto or even hate, and the man in front of them is obviously one of them. Obviously just a kid who just debuted, but he has gained such a loud reputation in Orario. There are many people who have similar thoughts. Under the influence of alcohol, this man and his teammates came directly to find fault. For ordinary people, they do have the confidence to be proud, but this time they chose the wrong opponent. Sioran stopped Sierra, who wanted to say something. Pull her behind him and let her sit back in her original position. It's okay, Sierra. For such a person whose eyes are blinded by jealousy, nothing can make them see more clearly than force. Sioran gently comforted 11ER, and then looked at Mia at the bar. I'm sorry, Mia, I will compensate for the loss. The man in front of him didn't seem to understand what was going to happen, and was just slightly stunned. A white palm suddenly appeared behind his head, and then bang bang bang. The sound of the face touching the ground kept ringing in a soothing rhythm. Each hit the same place. At the same time, it also kept knocking on the hearts of the other adventurers in the tavern. Seeing this scene, they even forgot the wine in their hands. Looking blankly at the strong man who was arrogant before, a small hole appeared on the originally clean and flat floor in an instant. The man's face, which was originally quite straight, became blurred, and tears, snot, and blood were mixed together. Now there is no trace of the previous arrogance, as if flowing like a stray dog. Sioran then shook his hand casually. Then he threw him to the door of the tavern like throwing away garbage. The man fainted at the first impact. He controlled the strength well. It is very difficult to pass over the back of an ant without stepping on it to death. The other adventurers who came back to their senses looked at the black-haired boy in the field with complicated eyes. Among them, those with good eyesight naturally saw Sioran's ease and casualness at the moment. The smart people have confirmed the fact that the Sword of Hope is level 2. At the same time, they are also guessing Sioran's specific strength. It has only been upgraded to level 2, but it has beaten the old strong man without any ability to fight back. This means that his basic ability value before the upgrade should be exaggerated. The adventurers who understand this all look at Sioran in awe. For them, strength is always the most powerful proof. At this moment, they all understand the value of the Sword of Hope and confirm the authenticity of the news announced by the gods. I thought it was another prank by the board god, but I didn't expect it to be true. The tavern fell into a brief silence. Then the man's teammates reacted and were about to rush towards Sioran. Crack, crack. Accompanied by the sound of wooden stools breaking, they both fell to the ground. Meow, your back of the head is defenseless. Men are more troublesome when they drink, but Sioran is an exception. Meow. Two cute cat-like clerks stood behind them, and they were Ania and Chloe. Holding the broken stool in their hands, it was obviously made by them just now. Chloe, Ania, you've worked hard, but I can do it. You will be scolded by Mia for doing this. Sioran thanked the two cat-like girls, but Mia was very angry at the people who destroyed the tavern. Sure enough. As soon as the words fell, a loud noise came from the bar. The linear wine table in front of Mia broke directly into a V shape. As the manager of the rich hostess, Mia has strong strength. Otherwise, she would not have been able to become Hill and the others' mother. As a mother, she naturally has the power to protect her children. This is the power of a first-level adventurer who is LV.6 in Orario. She is the strongest in this tavern. If you want to fight, get out. The tavern is a place to eat. Mia's voice was full of anger, and she stared at the adventurer team that had just been picking on her with a bad face. When Chloe and Anya heard Mia's words, the cat ears on their heads stood up instantly as if they were under stress. On weekdays, they had been hit by Mia's iron fists many times. That was a fistful of love. Sioran said to Mia apologetically. Manager Mia, I will double the compensation. Chloe and Anya were just maintaining the order of the tavern just now. You don't have to blame them. The tall, 1.8 meters, dwarf manager exhaled after hearing Sioran's words. He seemed to be suppressing his anger. Okay, kid. Just pay one portion, and those three spineless guys, come and pay the rest. Then get out of here. Hearing what manager Mia said, the adventurer team that was picking on her quickly helped up the unconscious captain. After paying, they hurriedly left the tavern. Meow, little brother, you are really good, no wonder 11ER is so cute. Ania came over lively and patted Sioran on the shoulder. It seemed that Sioran had a great liking for pleading with Mia manager on their behalf. Ania. 11ER called the cat girl's name loudly, and her pretty face as smooth as jade was full of shame and anger. Being loudly spoken out by her friends on this occasion, even 11ER, who was usually bold, was very shy. Sioran looked at them with amusement, and then returned to his seat. Helplessly spread his hands to Hestia and the others. My luck seems to be inexplicably bad here. It's a good second celebration, and I encounter this kind of thing again. Hestia nodded as if in agreement, looking at Sioran and said. Ran, it's all because you don't respect me enough on weekdays. This is the punishment for blasphemy, my child. Hearing the words of the goddess girl, Sioran raised his eyebrows. So it's considered blasphemy if I do that on weekdays. I'm planning to do something more extreme in the future. Hey. You kid. Hestia seemed to have sensed some of Sioran's thoughts, and her delicate little face was slightly tense. Well, it should be our fault. Aegina on the side denied Sioran's words. She thought that the adventurer team that was looking for trouble just now was partly trying to strike up a conversation. You can tell from that disgusting look with just one look. No, Aegina. It has nothing to do with you. The guy just now just didn't like me. I reached level 2 in a short time, and there are beautiful and excellent girls like you around me. It's just ridiculous jealousy. Don't pay attention to it. Sioran didn't want the girls to think it was his fault, and that was the truth. It was all caused by their inability to recognize their own jealousy. After being interrupted, they had no interest in staying. After paying the bill, they left the tavern under the gaze of Seal and the others. Sorry, Master Sioran. It must be Lily's fault. Lily is an unfortunate person. On the way home, Lily Luca, who had been silent all along, said this. Sioran and Hestia were slightly stunned. They didn't expect that the little human girl was so sensitive. Although they had ridiculed themselves before, it was actually very common to encounter such things in the tavern. Adventurers are all energetic people. It is normal to get drunk after drinking. Moreover, Sioran has been in the limelight recently. His amazing feat has caused an earthquake in Orario. The aftermath is still spreading outside the labyrinth city. Lily Luca went to the tavern for the first time, and then encountered such a situation. The kind little human girl probably blamed herself in her heart. If she hadn't been welcomed, she wouldn't have encountered such a thing. Sure enough, people like her would bring them misfortune. Woo! Sioran's hand knife woke up Lily Luca, who was in self-blame. Don't think too much, Lily. It's normal to encounter such things in the tavern. Our family members are unexpectedly all idiots. Is it because of the stupid Lord God? Sioran changed the subject. It was just an ordinary conflict. Similar conflicts between adventurers may happen countless times in a day. Ran. You are a child who disrespects your own Lord God. You are blaspheming God. Really? Then I am really a little scared. Please forgive me. Stupid Lord God Hestia. Woo. Lily Luca stared blankly at Sioran and the Lord God playing. Aina beside her looked at the little human girl and said gently. This is the family you joined, Miss Lily. Lord Hestia and Ran are like this. You are very lucky. The half-elf girl was a little shy because she called the boy so intimately for the first time. She knew some news about the Soma family in the guild, and she could probably guess what happened to Lily Luca. Facing the girl recognized by the person she likes. Perhaps because she has been with someone for too long, she also doesn't want to see that self-denying look. After all, joining Hestia is definitely a blessing. He and this family will surely resound throughout Orario in the future. This upgrade is just the beginning. The half-elf girl affirmed in her heart and looked forward to the future of the person she loves. Lily Luca felt the warmth transmitted by Aegina, and a peaceful smile appeared on her face. Yes, Lily has been lucky enough since she met the hero. Breaking free from the cage and gaining freedom. In the future, just follow him, he will never be wrong. P.S. The picture shows Anya and Chloe. A 4,000-word chapter is asking for data, and it will be on the shelves soon. It will be updated after it is on the shelves. Thank you very much. Mid-Autumn Reading. Recharge 100 to get 500 VIP points. Recharge now, activity time, September 15th to September 17th. Chapter 33, Eat It All. Okay, Ran. You kid, your evolution speed is still so ridiculous. After updating Sioran's level after a long absence, Hestia left his back. Now, it has been 4 years since Sioran became a follower of the goddess girl. During this time, both he and the Hestia family have achieved great growth. Sioran. Leave 10. Strength, I, 0. Durability, I, 0. Dexterity, I, 0. Agility, I, 0. Magic, I, 0. Magic. The method of transforming soul and matter. The method of creating yin and yang. The law of time. Skills. Heart of transcendence. The mind of martial arts. This is Sioran's growth in the past 4 years. His record in the guild a year ago was Leave 8. In the last 2 months after being promoted to Leave 2, he had completely analyzed the rules of this world. A year ago, the materialization of the soul was also completely transformed. Now he is fully able to exert the power of law. As for why the level was updated after a year. When Sioran reached Leave 8, he discovered that the speed of the miracle evolution brought by the level promotion has become extremely slow. If you want to continue to evolve, you must defeat opponents at the level of gods. There is no great significance in killing ordinary monsters and basic upgrades. So he doesn't go to the underground maze alone very often now, and basically accompanies the girls of the family to explore. After the restrictions were lifted, Sioran's frequency of going to the underground maze gradually decreased. Most of the time in the past was spent on finding girls suitable for the family and accumulating the understanding of the law. In the later period, he often accompanied the members of the family to explore the maze. Name, Sioran. Race, human. Origin, heart of transcendence, accelerated evolution, transcending the world. Ability, Eye of Akasha, recording and reading time. Martial arts heart eye, see through and learn all martial arts. Soul materialization, completion. Comprehensive assessment, law, disaster. 1 year ago, at the moment when the miracle of soul materialization was achieved, Sioran's legal principles were also sublimated at the same time. Now he can easily destroy a country with his hands, and he is a natural disaster walking on earth. Even if he faces a god with a combat priesthood, he will not be afraid at all. At present, the only thing that makes him care about in this world is the great gods like Zeus and Uranus. And the underground maze that cannot be seen through until now. In the past few years, Sioran has been constantly refreshing the gods' long-standing cognition. Breaking their definition of adventurer's common sense again and again. Especially a year ago, when Sioran was promoted to Leave 8. You must know that before this, the strongest adventurer in Orarine was the brave man belonging to Freya's family LV.70 Da. When Sioran was promoted to Leave 8, I don't know how many gods tried to break through the door of Hestia's family. If he was Leave 2, adventurers would still doubt and envy him. Now there is only awe and admiration, although the title is still Sword of Hope. Among the adventurers, there is a nickname that everyone agrees on, Hero. In addition to Sioran, the Hestia Familia has added many members during this period. Cassandra Ilian Leave 4, 18 years old. A weak girl rescued by Sioran during a maze trip 3 years ago. She has beautiful dark blue hair and a delicate face. At first, she often covered half of her face with her hair. She was once praised by Sioran as it's a waste to cover such a cute face. After that, she bravely showed her charm in front of him. The plump curves are hidden under the uniform of the Familia, which Sioran was quite surprised at first. How do you say he knew it? In the past few years, even a certain lowly god has been eaten up by him. As for the girls of the Familia, they have long been harmed by him. Cassandra originally belonged to a goddess. Afterwards, she converted to the Hestia Familia with her friend Daphne Laros. The weak girl has a special skill, the princess who sings the tragedy of the world. The skill name cannot even be displayed in sacred text. In the end, Hestia's intuition explained it as this name. She predicted the future through dreams, and finally expressed it in vague poems, but the content was extremely accurate. Due to the influence of her cursed power, her predictive dreams were not trusted by other adventurers or gods. Until she met the hero she thought of in the underground labyrinth. Sioran was naturally not affected by the cursed power, but was full of interest in Cassandra's predictive dreams. Later, through verification, he confirmed the authenticity of Cassandra's prophecy. However, her predictions cannot currently involve the existence of the god level. In the future she predicted, it seems that there was no trace of Sioran. The girl first met someone who believed in her precognitive dreams and saved her from a desperate situation. The timid and weak girl joined the Hestia family with a vision of heroes. After converting, Hestia told everyone about the magic that Cassandra possessed. Soul's Light, a range-type recovery magic, the effect is related to the user's spirit. The higher the spirit power, the better the recovery effect. Now she is a healer in the back row of the Hestia family. Daphne Laros Leave 4, 18 years old, Cassandra's best friend. Although she doesn't believe in Cassandra's precognitive dreams, she has always taken care of the weak girl. With bright red short hair and a resolute and delicate face, she is one of the calmest people in the family. Because she was worried that her weak best friend would be bullied, she converted to the Hestia family with her. Then, during several explorations of the underground maze, she was conquered by Sioran's personality, charm and strength. In the family, she has a similar position to Lily Luca, and has a strong command ability. But sometimes she also serves as a central defender. Currently, she is Lily Luca's master, responsible for developing the command ability of the little human girl. Amid Tzanare Leave 4, 19 years old. A petite silver-haired beautiful girl with a pair of violet eyes. A girl that Sioran met when he learned the basic information of this world in the guild library. Originally, she had a very high liking for Sioran during that year. Not long after he received the favor, he became the third member of the Hestia family after Lily Luca. Amid has a bug healing magic, Dia Fratel. High-level healing magic, it has the characteristics of healing wounds, restoring physical strength, expelling toxins, and removing curses at the same time. And the three effects of recovery, detoxification, and detoxification can be used separately. It can also act on multiple people and have a continuous effect. The healing effect is so strong that it can even restore broken limbs. A very special and top-level healing magic, a healer from the same family as Cassandra. Yamato Mikoto Leave 4, 16 years old. A samurai girl from the Far East. She has a beautiful face and a graceful figure, and a strong character with a little bit of naturalness. She likes to wear kimonos on weekdays. Her parents are members of a Far Eastern Valkyrie family. Later, her parents died while exploring the underground maze. She was raised by the Valkyrie, but later she thought that the family could not give Yamato Mikoto a future development. Out of trust in the hero Sioran. 3 years ago, she converted Yamato Mikoto and her childhood friend Chigusa to the Hestia family. She has the characteristics of both ninjas and samurai, and is good at gravity magic Buddha Yudama. In addition, the girl also has the ability to detect enemies and family members. As the level rises, the detection range will also increase accordingly. She is almost an all-round talent in the family, usually in the middle guard. Hitachi Chigusa Leave 4, 16 years old. She belongs to the same Valkyrie family as Yamato Mikoto. Her personality is similar to Cassandra, and they are both weak and beautiful girls. One is just extremely evil, while the other is a regrettable flat. She grew up with Yamato Mikoto and learned ninja and samurai skills from the Valkyrie. Her ability is somewhat different from Yamato Mikoto, but she has a talent for archery that surpasses Mikoto. Therefore, the girl is basically the back row output in the family. The last family member is Fulvicialia Leave 6, 19 years old. The strongest person in Hestia's family except Sioran, and the fourth girl to join the family. 4 years ago, Sioran rescued the elf girl because of a commission to go to the forest of Arsenia. There are also monsters on the surface, but they are much weaker than those in the underground maze. When Sioran arrived at the forest of Arsenia, he found that there was a rare monster tied there. There was a beautiful figure fighting hard among hundreds of monsters. Even if those monsters were weak species, such a number was a disaster for ordinary people. Even elves could hardly be their opponents before they received the grace. But the elf girl at that time relied on her excellent physical fitness and excellent perception to wander among the monsters. She struggled to resist the tide of monsters, just to cover the retreat of her people. When she was about to die from exhaustion in the mouth of the monsters, Sioran crushed the monsters with a crushing attitude. The innocent elf girl followed him back to Orario with her admiration for someone. Firwazi had a long, smooth black hair and a perfect face that was no less than that of a goddess. There was always only one person reflected in her ruby-like pupils. Her graceful curves were tightly wrapped in a white uniform. There was a hot heart hidden under her iceberg-like face. After Sioran's teachings over the years, Firwazi has now become an all-round fairy warrior similar to Lu. She is very good at parallel chanting and is often at the forefront of the family. She has two kinds of magic. One is the attacking thunder attribute magic, God of God Wand of Dionysus. The other is the defensive magic, God of God Salvation Holy Grail. In addition, she has a special skill, which makes a stupid god complain. Skill Fairy Admiration. Accelerate growth, increase magic and physical fitness. The stronger the owner's admiration, the stronger the effect. Who this skill was born for? The answer is obvious. The pure white fairy has decided to give everything since she was saved. For this reason, Hestia once set a rule in the family: no women other than her are allowed to approach Sioran. Although it is useless, the majesty of the goddess has long disappeared in the family. Too miserable. P.S. The picture shows Firwazi. The background settings of some characters have been changed, especially Firwazi. The level of the family girls will be explained later. Reading during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Activity time, September 15th to September 17th. Chapter 34, The Princess of the Tragic World. The morning light gently caresses the sleeping girl. The blue hair like the sky is shining with waves at this moment. The beautiful face is unusually soft, as if she is in a dream. The pajamas on her chest are slightly opened, and a touch of white and round beauty can be vaguely seen. Accompanied by the rhythm of breathing, the plump fruits are evenly rising and falling. The evil that cannot be grasped by the palm of the hand props up a perfect arc on the collar. The smooth skin is stained with a little tender pink, exuding an alluring charm. After a while, the girl's tightly closed eyes moved slightly, and then opened her emerald eyes. The eyes are full of confusion and laziness, as if she has not completely woken up from her sleep. The slightly dazzling warm sun makes the girl's eyes droop a little. Afterwards, she got up and walked to the windowsill after being fully awake. Pull open the gauze curtain that covers half of it, and feel the beauty of the morning at will. Recalling the dream she was indulging in, the girl couldn't help but blush on her smooth face. I am no longer the tragic princess. I am Cassandra, who belongs to him alone. In the cold and dark cave, there is a slightly trembling figure. Cassandra, who is alone, is filled with tension and fear. During the exploration with her clan members, they suddenly encountered a group attack of killer ants. For them, whose adventurers are generally at level 1. Killer ants are definitely a nightmare. It has a hard shell and sharp claws. As a low-level adventurer, it will easily take your life if you are not careful. Not to mention the killer ants. Without any surprise, the adventurer team Cassandra was in was directly dispersed. On the 7th floor. They fled in all directions on this floor full of surprises. Cassandra was also forced to separate from her best friend Daphne during the previous escape. The girl, who was a little timid to begin with, accidentally ran into this cave. The halo on the top floor was dim and uncertain, and the narrow passage was dark and claustrophobic. Faced with this extremely bad situation, Cassandra couldn't help but feel desperate. She was not good at fighting to begin with, and was responsible for acting as a healer in the family. Except for a slightly higher magic power, the other basic abilities were unbearable to look at. Just when the girl was already depressed, the accident happened again. It was not the cracking sound of the underground maze breeding monsters, but the noise of some creatures crawling. In the silent cave, this sound was particularly clear. Even Cassandra, who was in a low mood, was attracted by the movement. When she saw the source of the sound, her pupils suddenly shrank. It was a killer ant that was crawling quickly here. There was no reason in the scarlet eyes, only pure tyranny and murderous intent. It locked on the girl. How could it be? Cassandra was wavering, and the fingers holding the staff unconsciously exerted force. The originally white palm now had a hint of green. The body began to tremble uncontrollably. The beast transformed by fear was madly biting the girl's fragile heart. She had never expected that the killer ants from before could find this place. Facing the monster's devouring sight, Cassandra only felt a chill on her back. For a moment, she thought about giving up resistance completely. But her best friend, the resolute red-haired girl, the words before being forced to disperse were still echoing in her mind. "Cassandra, you must live for me." Huh. Perhaps she found some courage from her best friend. Cassandra raised the staff in her hand, carefully prepared to deal with the attack from the killer ants. The monster crawling on the top floor swooped directly at the girl. The hook with a cold and sharp light aimed at the girl's slender neck. Cassandra subconsciously used her staff to block in front of herself. The fire from the claws and weapons colliding continued to burst in the field. The power of the killer ant exceeded the girl's imagination. The huge impact force made her hands tremble constantly, and she almost lost her staff. When she was shocked by the monster's attack strength, the killer ant did not give the girl any chance to react, and quickly hit her with a collision. "It hurts, it's so cold." Feeling the coldness transmitted from the wall behind her, Cassandra couldn't help but cry out. But the monster is not a gentleman, it will only brutally ravage the adventurer. It won't give them any chance to breathe. Facing the killer ant that rushed over next, Cassandra used all her strength and turned to the side before the monster arrived. Bang! A huge collision sounded. Perhaps the killer ant was too powerful, and most of its body had already sunk into the wall. The limbs remaining outside were constantly twitching, as if trying to escape from the current situation. Cassandra looked at this slightly funny scene in silence. Then she came to her senses immediately. Even though she was a LV.1 rookie adventurer now. But she knew that now was the best time to fight back. The girl picked up the staff in her hand and hit the shell of the killer ant with force. Bang bang bang. However, Cassandra overestimated her physical strength after all. Although she had used all her strength, she still couldn't penetrate the monster's hard armor. Hoo-hoo. It didn't take long for Cassandra to feel that her body had reached its limit. Without a trace of extra strength, she gave up the idea of continuing to swing the staff in her hand. However, the scene that happened next made her feel horrified. The killer ant trapped in the wall was constantly wailing. This is the special pheromone they emit when they are dying or in trouble. It can gather the same kind around them. Cassandra naturally understood this, and the shadow of death shrouded her heart. The courage she had gained from her best friend before was swallowed by fear again. Despair is weaving. In the cold and dim cave, many pairs of densely packed scarlet eyes appeared in the blink of an eye. This is the killer ant group. The biting cold grew in the girl's heart, and the brilliance in her eyes gradually disappeared. Facing this catastrophic scene, any low-level adventurer would feel powerless. Even a high-level adventurer of LV.2 would definitely panic in his heart. There are too many. So many that people can't have the heart to resist, so many that people fall into despair. Ah! Am I going to die? Cassandra closed her eyes and stopped looking at this hellish scene. Maybe it was to escape, or some other emotion. Her life is just a tragedy. The girl thought about her name, Cassandra Ilion. And a name similar to a character in mythology. A princess full of misfortune and tragedy. Ever since those strange and terrible dreams appeared, her life has begun to write tragedy. No one believes, no one cares. She knows clearly that the scenes in the dream are all unclear prophecies. She has told the members of the family and explained to the Lord God. But without exception, no one is willing to believe her. In their opinion, what she said must be very ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous, Cassandra. Ha! It's just a dream. What a strange woman. She begged them to believe countless times, and was thrown into the abyss of loneliness countless times. In the eyes of outsiders, she is a strange woman. Or, she is just like a madman. Treating what happened in her dream as the future. How ridiculous, how ridiculous. Even her only best friend Daphne, Cassandra knew that she didn't believe it. She was in the same world with everyone, but was separated by a terrible sense of strangeness. This isolation almost suffocated herself. Sorry, Daphne. I have tried my best, but it seems that I really can't do it. It's better this way. This tragic life will come to an end. After all, I am a tragic princess. Really, is it possible that all my luck is spent on hero-saving beauty? A gentle male voice awakened the girl from despair. Cassandra couldn't help but look at the source of the voice. Warm, dazzling. This was the girl's first feeling. What first attracted her attention was not the boy's face that was more handsome than a god. It was the aura emanating from his whole body. His expression was full of leisure and casualness, but it exuded a strange warmth. Like the sun. For the girl in desperate situation, this light was a little too bright. It's not a good habit to be in a daze on the battlefield, girl. As soon as the voice fell, the figure of the black-haired boy disappeared from the spot. In Cassandra's dull eyes, the scene was cleared in an instant. The killer ant that she regarded as a nightmare. But she was so powerless in the boy's hands that she couldn't even let out a dying wail. Just like the sun drives away the dark clouds in the sky, the shadow that shrouded the girl's heart was easily crushed away. What's wrong, lonely girl? Haven't you come to your senses yet? Hearing some words in the boy's words, Cassandra felt that everything about her was seen through by him. Inexplicably, something seemed to be brewing in her long-dead heart. The girl who had been thrown to the bottom of the abyss countless times asked a question again. Excuse me, do you believe in precognitive dreams? The girl's tone was trembling and expectant that she had never noticed. Precognitive dreams. Every pause of the black-haired boy made her breath choke. She thought that the usual sharp blade would cut her heart again. But she never thought that the boy would answer like this. I'm quite interested, tell me about it. The lonely girl. Long time no see. Cassandra once again recounted the dream she had foreseen. It's really interesting. I'm a little looking forward to what you predicted. It just so happens that I'm very bored recently. He believed it. He believed it. The heart was beating violently, and the accelerated blood flow even made the girl feel dizzy. The soul was jumping, and the cells in the body began to boil. The joy beyond imagination filled Cassandra's heart. Do you believe, my precognitive dream? Believe. Sometimes, short words contain amazing magic. Can you tell me your name? Cassandra asked the black-haired boy's name with hope. I am Sioran. P.S. The picture shows Cassandra and Daphne. Although the number of words is only a little over 3,000, The author spent most of the afternoon coding this chapter. This is a supplementary chapter for Cassandra. If there is inspiration, I will continue to supplement the chapters for other girls. I am very sorry that the previous transition chapter brought a bad reading experience to friends. Thank you for your long-term support. Mid-Autumn Reading. Recharge 100 to get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Event time, September 15th to September 17th. Chapter 35, Flame Warrior. In just 4 years, the Hestia clan has become the upper-class clan of Orario. At present, in terms of overall combat power, even without Sioran, the Hestia clan is approaching the first-class clan. The girls can reach this level in a short time, in addition to their own talents. The most important thing is of course Sioran's existence. In the exploration of the underground maze, he usually acts as an observer. However, he will stop monsters that exceed their level for the girls. Let them always be trained within the maximum pressure they can bear. Therefore, the girls upgrade very quickly. In addition, the original meaning of grace is to promote the growth of adventurers themselves. Sioran's existence has accelerated their evolution, especially after completing the miracle of soul materialization. A year ago, he began to sublimate the vessels of the girls of the clan. Although the grace of the gods can theoretically allow adventurers to grow infinitely, but in fact, it is still limited by the adventurer's own talent, and will eventually reach the extreme of his own vessel. Otherwise, no one would stay at level 1 for years even if they get a favor. After each stage, Sioran will sublimate the vessels of the girls in the family. Its essence is to improve their talents, so that they can continuously expand their own vessels. With the expansion of vessels, the growth rate of the girls is naturally amazing. Although the miracle from the outer space cannot make them immortal like Sioran. But if they continue to sublimate, it is only a matter of time before they finally achieve immortality. Today, all Hestia's family are adventurers at level 4, and Fierwazi is a special case. She reached level 6 a year ago, and now she is close to level 7. Her special skill, plus Sioran's charging for her on weekdays. It is not surprising that she has such an evolution speed. The author has already been a nerf. After all, the evolution of rabbits is even more exaggerated. In short, it is a big cheat for the people in his family. Ran, are you planning to go to the underground labyrinth alone today? After updating Sioran's ability value, Hestia was a little curious. She hadn't seen her children conquer the labyrinth alone for a long time. Since the other children joined his family, he basically took them to conquer the labyrinth together. Well, I've been resting for so long, and I want to go to the labyrinth alone occasionally. I plan to go to the deeper level this time, which will probably take some time. Sioran affirmed the words of the goddess girl and wanted to have an adventure that he hadn't seen for a long time. Rising the level now doesn't mean much to him unless he defeats opponents of the same level. But even if Sioran had gone down to the 80th floor, he had never seen such a monster. The monsters there are probably equivalent to level 8. If he continues to go down, the conquering time will be longer, and Sioran is not interested in this kind of pure exploration now. For him now, the current fun is to enjoy life with the girls. The rest of the things are just a spice in life. Occasionally, I would explore the underground labyrinth and enjoy the unique scenery. I had accompanied the girls of the family on an expedition to the 47th floor and returned. I took them to challenge the floor master of the 47th floor. And did not continue after defeating him. It was not that I could not continue to attack downwards. But in Sioran's opinion, I would reach a deeper level sooner or later, so I could just explore leisurely and not rush. I and the girls had a long life and had enough time to experience the unknown of this world. Sioran stopped the girls who wanted to continue the attack with this reason. Although they were a little helpless about the character of their leader, they agreed without any hesitation. With admiration and love for heroes. The girls of the family would agree to any request of Sioran, even if it was very willful. If it was his words, they could not be refused, and his words were absolutely correct. This was the voice of the family members. After communicating with Hestia, Sioran turned around and met a pair of red eyes. Fulvice came to his side without knowing when, and looked at him calmly. Although she didn't say anything, the girl's eyes showed her will. I want to go together. Sioran was a little stunned. He didn't expect the elf girl didn't go out today. Because of the previous expedition, the girls all received good rewards. They all went out shopping today, planning to go shopping together after a long time. The girls naturally invited him, but he refused this time. Today, he planned to go to the deep level of the underground maze to take a look, but he didn't expect that Fulvice didn't go out either. Hestia will go out to meet them after updating his ability value. Thinking of the character of the girl in front of him, Sioran gave up the idea of persuading her. In some ways, Fulvice is very similar to him. Once a decision is made, it will be carried out to the end. Okay, Fulvice, accompany me to Hephaestus first. Sioran took Fulvice's hand and left, and the elf girl followed behind obediently. The slightly red earlobes revealed her inner turmoil. No matter how long it has been, the elf girl is still this pure. If possible, I still hope that Fulvice can communicate more with Ming and the others. Walking on the busy street, ignoring the awe and envy of others, Sioran spoke gently to the elf girl. He naturally knew that Fulvice was not resistant to Lily and the others. She was just not good at expressing her emotions, and always rushed to the front when other girls were in danger. Fulvice did not respond, but just slightly exerted force on the little hand in the boy's palm, as if answering. Well, forget it. After all, this is her personality. Sioran just hopes that she can integrate more. In the residence of a certain family, the red-haired goddess in the room was staring at the mirror in front of her. The gods in heaven all describe her as having hair color and temperament as hot as fire. A goddess with perfect craftsmanship and fiery temperament, but she has nothing to do with femininity. Without femininity, isn't she cute? Hephaestus quietly stared at himself in the mirror. His fingers accidentally touched the eye mask that covered half of his face. Under the eye mask, there is now a face as perfect as the other side. When Sioran achieved the miracle method a year ago, he came to the room of the forging goddess. He took off the eye mask again in her astonished eyes, and then a miracle appeared. The mark on Hephaestus' face was brought by the priesthood she was in charge of. Even the power of the gods cannot change it. So what about miracles from outside the world? Sioran tried to remove the mark on the face of the forging goddess with a triad mentality. The incompleteness of the concept was confronted with the concept. Obviously, the miracles outside the world defeated the defects brought by the natural priesthood. When Sioran showed the mirror to Hephaestus, the goddess of forging did not dare to look directly at it at first. When she saw her truly flawless face from behind, the goddess, who had always been resolute, could not suppress the surging emotions in her heart. In excitement, she gave the goddess her first kiss. After coming to her senses, she pushed Sioran out of the room and was in a daze alone. Hephaestus took off his blindfold and looked at the impeccable face in the mirror. A gentle smile hung on the corner of his mouth, as if he had fallen into some kind of happy memory. The soul that was shrouded in shadows in the past has now been emitting dazzling light. But then she thought of the descriptions of herself by the gods in heaven, and she was a little distressed. She was treated as a woman by the opposite S*X for the first time, and she did not know how to show her feminine charm. Cute. Flame warrior. Thinking of this, Hephaestus made a move to himself in the mirror. The slender and white fingers were placed on the smooth and perfect cheeks. Excuse me, Hephi, I'm here to get the sword. Sioran pushed open the door of the forging goddess and saw this scene. As for the name, it was changed after the goddess kissed her. The red-haired goddess was making shameful movements in front of the mirror. Her beautiful face was flushed with an alluring blush because of the sudden visitor. Except for a certain lowly god friend and a boy, no one else could enter her room without permission. This is the rule of the Hephaestus family. I didn't expect that you have such a hobby, Hephei. So cute. Sioran's smile became playful, and his eyes looked directly at a goddess who seemed to want to escape. I didn't. Hephaestus hurriedly wanted to explain, but his brain crashed first. Sioran looked at the flustered goddess with amusement. It was the first time he saw her like this. This look was different from the usual shyness, which made him feel very cute and interesting. Flame warrior. Sioran temporarily let go of Fierwazi's hand and imitated the forging goddess to do it again. Woo! The Hephaestus sank directly. Picture shows Hephaestus reading during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Event time, September 15th to September 17th. Chapter 36 New Species. I have already taken care of your sword. The boy's previous imitation may have had a big impact on the goddess. After a long time, Hephaestus, who had barely recovered, handed Sioran's goddess blade to him. Thank you for troubling you all the time, Hephei. Let's go on a date together later. Sioran took the sword and then skillfully invited the goddess. They were both the type who were frank about their emotions and would not hide them. They had already gone on dates together many times before. Seeing that the face of the forging goddess was still blushing, Sioran decided not to tease her anymore. After getting the sword from Hephaestus, he often gave it to the goddess for maintenance. Sioran could also maintain the weapon himself, after all, he was more of an all-rounder. But he was not interested in this at all. In addition, the sword was given to the goddess for maintenance. You can also take this opportunity to see her often on weekdays and go out on dates together. Although the two of them didn't have much time to communicate on weekdays, the previous kiss had already revealed everything. They are all immortals with eternal time, so they naturally don't care too much about these. Sioran and the goddess silently maintain this tacit understanding. Fulvice beside them has been watching their communication calmly. For the elf girl, the most important thing is to stay with someone, and everything else is unimportant. I know, wait for you to come back first. Hephaestus was relieved to see that someone stopped teasing him. He could maintain the majesty and calmness of the gods in front of the children of the family. But he often showed his weak side in front of him. What a foul child. Although she had never come into contact with any opposite S*X before, she fully understood the passion in her heart. She didn't expect that one day she would fall in love with a child from the lower world. She had been shaken since he took off his blindfold, and she fell completely after eliminating this defect. Hephaestus now finally understood how Hestia felt at the beginning. No wonder his best friend cared so much about this child. He has a charm that even our gods can't resist. Sioran put the goddess blade on his waist and left the room with Fulvice. He winked at Hephaestus before closing the door. Goodbye, Hephei. Very cute, flame warrior. Woo. What a foul man, he can easily disturb his mood. After leaving the Hephaestus clan's residence, Sioran first took Fulvice to the guild. He planned to take a deep commission. Anyway, it was on the way, so he just made some fares casually. As soon as he entered the guild hall, Aina raised her head as if she had telepathy. Sioran, you are here, Miss Fulvice, long time no see. The smile on the half-elf girl's face was a little gentler, and she greeted them. Well, I'm a little bored recently, and I plan to take a deep commission. Does Aina have any recommendations? Sioran asked the half-elf girl directly. She knew this information very well. Hello, Aina. Fulvice beside her nodded to Aina. Aegina, who knew the character of the elf girl, didn't care, and smiled softly. She thought about Sioran's question for a while. Then she thought of a commission. The DanMachi family has recently issued 2 commissions. The content is the same, collecting the Cadmus spring on the 51st floor. Their main god seems to be very anxious and issued 2 commissions. The first one has been taken away by the Loki family a few days ago. The mission reward is very good. Hearing Aegina's answer, Sioran raised his eyebrows. It was a familiar name. In the past few years, the family he has dealt with the most is the Loki family. In addition, there is the brave man of the Freya family. He seems to be stimulated by his upgrade speed. The Freya family, which rarely went on expeditions in the past, has increased the number of expeditions in recent years. As one of the few families that can reach the deep layer, Sioran did not deliberately hide it. Naturally, he has met them many times and has a good relationship with them. He is a little more familiar with the Loki family. Whether it is his strength or the strength of the girls in the clan, they are enough to win the respect of the 2 top clans. Even the unruly werewolf of the Loki clan did not provoke him no matter how unhappy he was. That werewolf is an absolute power supremacist. He despises the weak but will not be so despicable as to bully the weak. His character can only be said to be quite bad, but his personality is not bad. As for the conflict that first occurred in the tavern, it has long passed and neither side cares. The expeditions in recent years have made him familiar with the leaders of the 2 top factions. Of course, a certain stubborn blonde girl also left a deep impression on him. The Hestia family will definitely become the 3rd top family in the future, and even become the strongest family. This is a point recognized by all adventurers and gods, as long as Sioran does not die halfway. The Hestia family is destined to dominate the entire Aurario. After accepting the commission of the DanMachi family, Sioran did not talk much with Aina. They would meet often on weekdays, and the number of dates was countless. Naturally, they did not care about this time. With the daily blessings of the half-elf girl, Sioran and Fulvice entered the underground maze. With the speed of Sioran and Fulvice, there is no need to stop halfway. It took about half a day to reach the 51st floor. The structure of the 51st floor is very special and fully meets the characteristics of a maze. Whether it is the wall above or the ground under your feet, it seems to have been specially designed. Several natural passages intersect with each other, forming many crossroads and corners. Ordinary adventurers who are not familiar with the map will inevitably get lost here. The main monster on the 51st floor is the upright black rhino. Although it is less than 2 meters tall, its hard skin and tight muscles can cause a lot of trouble to adventurers. Without wasting time with these monsters, Sioran turned into a flash of light to clear the field. Without staying too long, he came to a cave deep in the floor. There are lush forests here, and there are several cracks on the deepest wall of the cave. The spring water with a deep blue glow is slowly dripping from the cracks. Finally, it gathers in the low-lying area of the flowers and plants below. But the surroundings are in a mess, and some trees still have traces of dark purple. There are wisps of light smoke rising from above, as if corroded by something. At the same time, there is an unpleasant stench coming from the depths of the cave. The strong dragon is not here. Fulvice was a little confused. There should be a strong dragon guarding the Cadmus spring. Some treasures deep in the underground labyrinth are guarded by monsters that are as powerful as the floor masters of the lower floors. The monster guarding the Cadmus spring is the strong dragon Cadmus. This monster is even stronger than the Leve 6 floor master Udius on the 37th floor. Now there is no trace of the strong dragon, only a mess. The strong dragon is dead, Fulvice. Sioran looked at a small sandbag somewhere at his feet. After calling up a breeze to blow away the gravel, the things inside showed their shapes. This is a piece of part of the wing membrane shining with golden light. Cadmus's membrane. It is an extremely rare item dropped by a strong dragon. Looking at the rarity of this membrane, the market price is at least 10 million ferrous. The monsters in the underground labyrinth will disappear after the magic stone is broken. The limbs that did not disappear with the main body are called drops. Such drops are often rare materials that can be exchanged for money, forged, and made into potions. They are all extremely valuable items. You defeated the powerful dragon but didn't take away such precious drops. Fulvice was even more puzzled. The adventurer who was able to come here and defeat the powerful dragon. It is impossible that he didn't know the value of Cadmus's membrane, but didn't take it away. The elf girl gradually fell into confusion, and then looked up at Sioran. There was no expression on her face, but it just expressed the meaning of "tell me quickly." As the person closest to Sioran except for a certain lowly god, she certainly knew his ability. Sioran smiled a little when he saw this. He stroked her softness in the shy eyes of Fulvice. It's not the powerful dragon defeated by the adventurer, it's probably a new type of monster. Just as Fulvice thought. Adventurers who can come to the deep layer will not fail to recognize the value of this membrane. Then, the most likely guess is that the monsters in the floor defeated the powerful dragon. However, Sioran has been to the 51st floor many times, and he is familiar with the monsters here. In his impression, there are no monsters with corrosive properties. Then the answer is very clear: the underground maze has produced a new kind of monster. This is not uncommon. Before the ancient gods came to the world, the changes in the maze existed. Just like the destroyer that Sioran and Astralia's family encountered before Zagnat. That is a new kind of monster bred by the maze, and no one has seen it except them. Often this kind of new monster is very powerful, and it is not impossible to defeat the powerful dragon. Reading during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Activity time, September 15th to September 17th. Chapter 37. I don't want it. In fact, Zagnat is actually very strong. It's just that its luck is too bad. If it hadn't met Sioran, even the first-level adventurer would have a high probability of overturning. Facts have proved that you still need to be lucky. Zagnat's first sight kill attribute is directly maxed out. Broken claws can easily tear apart the protective gear that adventurers are proud of. When adventurers give up the forward and use the wizard's back row output, they will feel the despair of Zagnat's magic rebound. Extreme speed, terrible destructive power, abnormal anti-magic shield. The most special thing is, it doesn't even have magic stones, which is completely beyond the common sense of adventurers. It is completely a destroyer that appears specifically to slaughter adventurers. Moreover, it is a new monster, and adventurers have no information about it at all. As long as you relax your vigilance a little, the monster will take his life in an instant. That is, first sight kill. Therefore, if a new monster appears on the 51st floor, it is not surprising that a powerful dragon stronger than the Leave 6 floor master can be killed. Sioran was a little curious, and he was about to take Fulvice to look for it. A sound of footsteps came from behind. Ah, it's the Argonauts. A passionate voice sounded behind him. The familiar Amazon twins came to meet him. Their exotic faces were not inferior to those of goddesses, and they exuded a unique temperament. The older sister of the twins, who was originally a little impatient, became gentle after seeing a certain boy. The proud and strong Amazon hero quietly put away his sharpness. The younger sister, as always, had a pure and innocent smile. Unlike the Amazons who wore bold clothes, the twins' clothes were combat clothes specially used to cover most of their skin. They were cotters of the Loki family, the younger sister Diona and the older sister Dione, both of whom were adventurers at Leave 5. The cheerful one who greeted was Diona. Dione changed her temper and her face was full of gentleness. Her eyes were looking at Sioran with a fiery and bold look. As a well-known first-level adventurer in Aurario, Dione and Dione stood at the top of the Amazon race. Amazon is a female race and loves fighting. This race has always had the custom of plundering the blood of strong men. The offspring they gave birth to will only be female. The twins standing at the top of the Amazon don't look down on other men at all. When they first entered the Maze City 5 years ago, a shadow had been engraved in their hearts. At that time, the two who extended a helping hand to them also silently took away their hearts. Long time no see, Sioran. Unlike her sister's enthusiasm, Dione greeted him gently. At the same time, the twin sisters were constantly closing the distance between them. Seeing the Amazon twins who seemed to want to pounce on her, Filwazy directly blocked in front of Sioran. Looking at the sisters in front of him with a cold expression. "Tisk, it's you again, an elf." Seeing this, Dione was a little unhappy and said with a smug look. They naturally knew about the level 6 Fernweiss. However, what the sisters and everyone in Orario knew best was Fernweiss's behavior. The impeccable elf girl has been with Sioran since she joined the Hestia family. Most of the time. As long as the boy appeared in a place, there would always be a black-haired fairy by his side. So when she was upgraded to level 2, she was given such a title. Guardian Fairy. Just like ancient heroes are always accompanied by beautiful fairies or elf girls. Filwazy, who often stays by Sioran's side, naturally got such a title. Sioran touched Filwazy's head, indicating that she didn't have to do so. She only behaved like this when she met the Amazon twins. Diona and Dione were too enthusiastic. The characteristics of the Amazon race are basically opposite to those of the elves, so they often dislike each other. Long time no see, Diona, Dione. You have changed a lot now, Ace. I like your changes now. He greeted Dione and the others gently. Then Sioran looked at the blonde girl next to him who was staring at him as usual, Ace Wallenstein. 3 years ago, Sioran met the Loki family while exploring the underground maze alone. That happened on the 49th floor. That time he planned to deal with the floor master, leave 7 Barrel. When he just defeated Barrel, he happened to meet the Loki family returning from the expedition. Both sides were a little surprised. What surprised Sioran even more was the golden-haired figure Sword Princess Aisi. The girl rushed directly to him, ignoring the obstruction of the family members. She only asked one question. "Why are you so strong?" Since the first time they met in the tavern, the girl had this question in her heart. The boy who had just received the favor at that time easily defeated Bert of level 4. Due to the conflict between the family and him, Aisi did not ask this question at the first time. Now, they met again after a year. The other party actually defeated Barrel of level 7 alone. This terrifying speed of becoming stronger shocked Aisi. In addition, there was more envy. The hidden emotions in the girl's heart broke out completely, and she couldn't hold herself back at all. Although there was no expression on her face, Sioran could clearly sense her deep obsession. Before he could react, Aisi said another sentence. "Please teach me to become stronger." I don't want to." Without any hesitation, Sioran directly rejected the girl's request. Ace is indeed very beautiful, and her face is absolutely impeccable. But, very boring. At least the Sword Princess at that time seemed very boring to Sioran. She didn't have any charm as a woman at all, and only had a delicate shell like a doll. She didn't have any human aura at all, or it was very faint. She was more like a sharp sword than a beautiful girl. He would not be interested in swords. At that time, Sioran only said this to the girl. "When you become more like a human, I will consider guiding you." After that, Aisi did not speak again. She seemed to be thinking about the meaning of Sioran's words. Unlike the other members of Loki's family who were confused. The leader of the dwarf tribe, Finn, the powerful dwarf warrior Grace, and the royal elf Livalia all fell silent because of Sioran's words. As elders who watched Aisi grow up, they naturally understood the deep meaning of Sioran's words. The girl who had everything taken away had only an everlasting hatred in her heart. Sioran could clearly sense the fire of revenge rooted in the girl's heart. But this is not okay. If she doesn't change, the Sword Princess will definitely be broken. Although he was not familiar with her, he did not want to see the girl end up like that. If she changes later, I will give her the seeds of becoming stronger. This was the decision Sioran made in his heart 3 years ago. P.S. The picture shows Aisi. The Amazon twins are a small foreshadowing here. It will be explained later why they are so close to the protagonist. Reading during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Top up 100 and get 500 VIP points. Top up now, event time, September 15th to September 17th. Chapter 38, Changing Her into Her Own Shape. You have become stronger again. This sentence again, Sioran felt helpless. Now Aisi is indeed a little more human than 3 years ago, but the obsession has always existed. Before. For this girl, everything else is meaningless except becoming stronger. It seems that something has been chasing her, desperately urging her to keep moving forward. But now, her sharpness has obviously decreased a lot, and she has also become soft. It's not that the girl has become weaker, but that she has found her sheath. As far as Sioran felt 3 years ago. At that time, the war girl was a pure sword of revenge. Without too much emotion, she put everything into endless strengthening. The original emotions were completely frozen by her, trying to plug the huge hole in her heart. At any time, she was like a sword emitting a sharp edge, and her heart was filled with indifference and nothingness. Even if she joined the clan, she still couldn't change her amazing obsession. The girl seemed to have put the meaning of her existence in deep revenge. But now she has obviously changed. Although still sharp, it lacks the biting coldness of the past. She seems to have realized that there are other things worth caring about besides revenge. The edge of the sword is hidden in the sheath. Yes, although it did not meet my expectations. But it has indeed changed a lot, and it is much more attractive than the perfect and cold doll before. It is transforming from a pure sword to a real person. It seems that Livalia and the others have worked hard in the past few years. Past. After staring at Aisi for a while, Sioran made a decision. After I go back this time, I will teach you for a while, Aisi. In the past few years, Sioran basically focused on his understanding of the law and the growth of the girls of the clan. After the materialization of the soul, his evolution speed became slow. Therefore, he now has too much time, basically enjoying life with the girls. Since Aisi barely met his requirements, it doesn't matter if he teaches her for a while. He wants to change her into his own shape. Ahem, that's not right. It's to teach her to really know her heart. Although she has become soft, she obviously hasn't realized her true feelings. She has never understood the source of strength. She is confused. Is this considered training a beautiful girl? Sioran's thoughts began to diverge gradually. In addition, he also wanted to know why Aisi was so obsessed with becoming stronger. He would try to explore things that caught his attention, no matter how big or small. In short, the current sword princess really aroused his interest. Really? Aisi's delicate face did not change much, but there was a hint of joy in her eyes. For her who is obsessed with becoming stronger, nothing is more attractive than becoming strong again. Hey, Aisi is so cunning. The Argonauts are so partial, why do they still teach Aisi alone? I want it too. Diona was making a noise on the side. The enthusiastic and cheerful girl added a little cheerful atmosphere to the dark cave. Sioran then agreed with them that he would find time to go to Loki's family after returning this time. Aisi and her companions are currently on an expedition, and have also taken on a commission from the DanMachi clan. However, there are many people in the expedition of Loki Familia, and they need to prepare a large amount of resources and supplies. Therefore, their current progress is not fast, and naturally they are easily caught up by Sioran and Fulvice. After collecting the Cadmus spring, Sioran left with Aisi and the others. Ah! As soon as they left the cave, a scream came from not far away. It's Rahul. The Amazon twins who were originally chatting happily changed their expressions and ran to the source of the sound. The Loki Familia was divided into two vanguards to collect the Cadmus spring. Aisi and the others were one group, and the other group was led by Finn, the leader of the dwarf tribe. The rest of the family members stayed on the 50th floor, and Livalia, the nine-demon princess, was in charge. The scream now came from Rahul, one of the members of Finn's team. Sioran directly picked up Fulvice, ignoring the elf girl's blushing face, and instantly accelerated. Thinking of the mess beside the spring before, there was a vague guess in his heart. After arriving first, Sioran looked at the thing chasing them behind Finn. It was a huge worm about 4 meters tall, with a yellow-green body, and countless legs walking on its lower body. A bit disgusting. The huge body of the monster kept hitting the stone wall at the top of the floor as it moved. Behind the worm, there was a group of smaller worms following. Sioran. Finn, who was fleeing with his team members, saw the black-haired boy in front of him. He looked a little surprised, as if he didn't expect him to appear here. Finn at level 6 and the dwarf warrior Grace. Bert at level 5 and Rahul at level 4 carried on Grace's shoulders. Such a luxurious lineup could only run away in front of this group of monsters. Sioran was slightly interested, and Fulvice beside him was also a little surprised. She naturally recognized Finn and the others, and then looked at the group of worm monsters behind with a focused look. As if sensing the danger, the leading worm sprayed a large amount of linear black liquid from its mouth. Seeing this, Sioran's guess was confirmed. It seems that it was this group of monsters that defeated the powerful dragon guarding the Cadmus fountain. The stench of these black liquids is the same as the smell in the powerful dragon cave. After thinking, Sioran took out the goddess blade. The black sword gradually glowed with silver light. The sharp breath continued to spread, forcing the air around to make waves of wailing. Just being there was a shocking pressure in the field. The worm group that was chasing frantically seemed to stop for a moment. This is a deadly murderous aura. Finn and others who were running for their lives could not help but be attracted by the movement in front of them. Then, Sioran gently waved at the worm monster. The silver sword light rolled up a gust of wind and blew behind Finn and others. Oh! Accompanied by screams, all the worms were torn to pieces by the sword light and hurricane. At the moment before the monster was crushed, there seemed to be a glimmer of light. Finn and the others only saw a silver light streaking through the room, and then the sound of the worms behind them disappeared completely. It's amazing. The leader of the dwarf tribe turned around and sighed. Although there is also a reason why monsters can spit out corrosive liquid. But the worms that forced them to flee. But in front of the Sword of Hope, they turned into residue in an instant. Finn once again realized the power of Aurorio's only levate. This is a gap that is difficult to cross. P.S. Change the timeline of AIC's emotional transformation. Mid-autumn reading. Recharge 100 to get 500 VIP points. Recharge now. Event time, September 15th to September 17th. Chapter 39 3 Nothings are great. So awesome. Isai and the others who arrived a little later also stared blankly at the debris on the ground. They had originally left the strong dragon cave first. Unexpectedly, they were surpassed by Sioran in an instant, and the monster chasing Finn and the others was killed instantly. Although the monster's attack was not seen. But under the protection of Finn and Grace, Rahul was still attacked. It can be seen that the monster they encountered was not simple. Well. It's okay. Finn, you just feel troubled because of its corrosiveness. Sioran casually answered the leader of the dwarf tribe in front of him. He and the Loki family had fought many times in the deep before. He was somewhat familiar with the way the brave man acted. It was not difficult for Finn and the others to kill this group of worm monsters with their strength. Perhaps because they were worried that the liquid sprayed by the worm would corrode the equipment, they judged that it was not worth fighting with it. So they decisively chose to evacuate. This brave man of the dwarf tribe always makes the best choice on the battlefield. That is the so-called correctness. That's the reason, but it's also true that you're strong, Sioran. Thank you for your help. This time, we, the Loki Familia, owe you a favor. Finn thanked Sioran earnestly. It's nothing, just a small matter. By the way, don't you care where these guys came from? They came from the 50th floor. Sioran waved his hand, indicating that he didn't care. Then he reminded everyone in the Loki Familia. Previously, through the conversation with Dione and the others. But knowing that the main members of the Loki Familia are now stationed on the 50th floor. After hearing Sioran's reminder, Finn and the others became serious. Immediately realized the importance of the matter. Then quickly moved towards the correct route to the 50th floor. With a little curiosity. Sioran and Fulvice followed them and soon returned to the 50th floor. As soon as he arrived at the cave entrance on the 50th floor, he saw black smoke rising from the forest not far away. He could also hear noises from afar. Presumably, that was the temporary camp where the Loki Familia lived. Seeing this, Finn and his team accelerated and rushed towards the direction of the black smoke. This is an empty flat land with a huge rock in the middle. Members of Loki's family are on the rock, constantly attacking the monsters below with weapons. It is the worm group encountered on the 51st floor before. Now they are clinging to the edge of the rock and moving upwards. Black and smelly liquid drips from the mouth, leaving obvious traces on the rock. In the center of the rock is an elf with emerald green hair, constantly directing members to defend. Her appearance is more perfect than that of some female gods, and she is not panicked even in crisis. She calmly directs the family members to resist the attack below. The members in the front row mainly use shields to resist the corrosive liquid of the monster. The members in the back use bows and arrows or spears to repel the monster. Seeing her companions in crisis, Ace rushed over first. "Wake up!" as the girl chanted in a low voice. The wind in the open space kept gathering towards her. As if she was wearing the wind armor and holding the sword of despair in her hand. Like a valkyrie, she kept dancing in the worm swarm. These low-level monsters were no match for the first-level adventurers. What's more, the Sword Princess was also at the top among the upper-level adventurers. The silver rapier in the girl's hand was like the sickle of the god of death, madly harvesting the lives of the monsters. The worm swarm, which had originally had a slight advantage, was suppressed by Ice Eye alone at this time. The girl instantly judged the characteristics of the worm monster and attached the wind to the blade. Before their corrosive liquid splashed, it would be blown away by the girl's wind. The battle in the field gradually showed a one-sided trend. Some members of the Loki family were looking at the Sword Princess in the field with awe. Rather than magic, it seems to be more like the protection of the wind. Looking at the figure of the blonde girl in the field, Sioran was a little amazed. No wonder Ice Eye is nicknamed War Princess among adventurers. This wild fighting style and perfect appearance are indeed worthy of the name. "Are you interested in this Sword Princess, Lord Sioran?" Philowazi asked calmly, as if she didn't care. Sioran glanced at the elf girl beside her, and she turned her eyes away and didn't look at her. "I really admire her now, but shy Philowazi is cuter." This is true, Ice Eye's appearance is really amazing. Now she has a bit more human breath. Coupled with her 3-nothings attribute, Sioran can't deny that he has other ideas. After all, from a certain level, 3-nothings are great in all aspects. But at present, they are just slightly familiar strangers, and naturally they don't have the weight of Philowazi in his heart. You always say something cunning. Philowazi lowered her head slightly, and her red earlobes were charming in a different way. Sioran said nothing more, holding her hand and walking towards the camp of Loki's family. Pictured is Philowazi. Reading during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP points. Recharge now, event time, September 15th to September 17th. Chapter 40 Comfortable. With the addition of Isai and other first-level adventurers, the balance of the battlefield has completely tilted. It's the Sword of Hope and his fairy. Arriving at the Loki family camp, the surrounding adventurers immediately recognized Sioran and his identity. Nowadays, the Hestia family is famous throughout Aurario. Moreover, he is the only Levite, and he is admired and respected by people regardless of his strength or appearance. Sioran. Hey, I found an opportunity, Argonauts. The Amazon twins came up at the same time, and even Fulvice couldn't stop them this time. Shin and Tiona hugged his arms on the left and right. The pure white elf girl was entangled, not knowing which side to stop. Okay, don't bully Fulvice too much. Feeling the touch from her arm, Sioran looked at her sisters with a smile. Long time no see, Sioran. After the crisis was resolved, Livalia came over and greeted Sioran. Because of Aegina, he and Livalia were familiar with each other. The mother of the half-elf girl was familiar with Livalia. According to Aegina, Livalia seemed to be the princess of the Elfland. She had the blood of the elven royal family flowing in her body, and her status was very noble. Therefore, whether it was strength or blood, most elves and half-elves respected her very much. Whether it was Aegina or the elves Lefia and others in Loki's family, they all used honorifics for her. However, she herself did not like this. It seemed that she hated some rigid rules in the Elfland. Long time no see, Livalia. Aegina missed you very much. Sioran smiled at her gently. I feel relieved that the child has you by my side, and I will go to see her later. Thank you for your help to Finn and others before. Hearing Sioran mention Aegina, Livalia's smile softened a little. Aegina's mother was her companion who fled the land of elves with her. Therefore, Livalia always took care of and cared about Aegina, just like her mother. It's a bit too early to thank me, the matter is not over yet. Sioran noticed the approach of some creatures and looked at the woods next to him. Hearing this, Livalia put away the smile on her face and turned to that side. Click, click, click. The wailing of the trees under the heavy load was clearly audible in the silent forest. The ground gradually began to vibrate slightly. Even though the attacking creature had not yet been seen, it was guessed that its size would not be small. The Amazon twins holding Sioran's arms and Aisi who was watching him turned to the source of the sound. As the giant trees fell, a large figure appeared in front of everyone. The lower body was still yellow-green in color, but the upper body had a human-like body. The black abdomen swelled into an amazing shape, filled with an unknown liquid. It had 4 flat arms and was larger than the previous worm, reaching about 6 meters. Seeing this monster, most of the adventurers in the field were feeling psychologically uncomfortable. The strange asymmetry between the upper and lower body makes people feel sick from the bottom of their hearts. This body size is almost close to the floor master. Is it the leader of a new kind of monster? Sioran looked at the monster in front of him that seemed to be grafted, and was a little curious about its origin. Philowazi couldn't help but frowned, as an elf who loves nature and life. The image of the monster in front of her made her feel physically and mentally uncomfortable. Then the elf girl turned her eyes to the black-haired boy she admired. Well, comfortable. The discomfort brought by the mutated monster. When I saw his handsome face, it disappeared instantly. Happiness is sometimes so simple. Finn, this kind of monster will explode before death, and I chopped them into pieces before. Looking at the frowning leader of the dwarf tribe, Sioran told him the information. "Thank you." Finn was grateful for the information provided by the boy. At the same time, he also understood that this was the enemy of Loki's family. Sioran had helped once on the 50th floor before, and was not qualified to ask him for help again. Besides, as the top faction in Orario, they also have their own pride. While Finn was thinking, the moving monster suddenly stopped moving. The four flat arms spread out, as if hugging the air. The weird posture made most people feel cold behind their backs. Something is coming. Many tiny particles like phosphorus powder flew out of the monster's arms. Accompanied by the flashing light, it rushed towards Sioran and the others with the wind. Feierwazi, defensive magic. Suddenly I feel like I'm playing Pokemon? Sioran commanded the elf girl, and at the same time he was reminding Loki's family. The composition of those pollens is similar to explosives. He sensed that some kind of energy inside was expanding and was about to burst out. Raise the cup as a shield, the cup of evil. God salvation Holy Grail. The elf girl quickly wove a song. Then a magic wall representing the girl's pure white appeared in front of Sioran. This is the defensive magic of Feierwazi, which can resist magic and physical attacks. The strength is related to one's own strength. The attack of this monster naturally cannot break the magic barrier cast by Feierwazi at level 6. Boom 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 boom. The violent explosion sounded in the forest. When the smoke and dust dissipated, the surroundings were already in a mess. Mid-autumn reading. Recharge 100 to get 500 VIP points. Recharge now, event time, September 15th to September 17th. Chapter 41, The Fake Hero. Quickly abandon the camp and leave with the minimum supplies. Ace, you come to cover the retreat. Seeing the exaggerated destructive power of the monster, Finn made a judgment in a very short time. But for some reason, an inexplicable emotion rose in the heart of the brave man. Although this is the most appropriate decision at the moment. But let him and Livalia, the girl they have watched grow up, cover the retreat alone. Finn couldn't help but feel a little irritated. So, he looked at Sioran sincerely and said. Sioran, no. Hero. The following is my personal request, I hope you can take care of Isai a little. With the strength of the monster's previous range attack, the lower level members of the clan could not resist it at all. They could only evacuate with the minimum supplies. But the clan was on an expedition, and there were many members following. It was very difficult to evacuate in groups under the eyes of the monster. And they could not all stay to defeat the monster. The explosion caused by its death would certainly be no less powerful than the previous wave of attacks. Therefore, someone must stay to temporarily delay the monster's pace. And the members who stayed behind needed to have a certain strength. They could interfere with the monster's movement and flexibly move around the battlefield. Among them, only Aisi, who possessed wind magic, was naturally the most suitable. This was the most rational decision. The last request made to Sioran was the suppressed emotional outburst of the leader of the dwarf tribe. Let Aisi, who was inferior to their big three in rank and had grown up with them, cover the rear. Even if it was the most rational decision at the moment, Finn could not suppress his inner restlessness. So he made his request to Sioran from a personal perspective. I originally thought you were a complete fake hero, Finn. Hearing the boy's words, the brave man rarely smiled bitterly. He really saw through him. Finn has never concealed his ambitions, he wants to revitalize the dwarfs. He specifically asked Loki to obtain the title of brave man for him. He is determined to become the courage for the dwarfs to move forward. Inspire the fighting spirit of the tribe and make the entire race prosperous. Therefore, he always does things that are rational and absolutely correct. Just to gain a higher and louder reputation. He is a brave man who appears in response to the expectations of the people. Finn's true emotions will be bound by his reason, even if it is a decision against his will. But for the sake of fame, for the revitalization of the race, he is willing to do so. Therefore, in Sioran's view, Finn's will is the race, but his body is the people. People's affirmation makes him a brave man. But at the same time, it also constrains him to remain absolutely correct. Once he deviates from the expectations of the people, the brave man will collapse in an instant. This is the righteousness of Finn's choice, and Sioran has known it since he got to know him. He respects Finn's choice. After all, most people are not free. There are too many constraints in the world. Therefore, after coming to Orario, Sioran followed the absolute freedom of his will. He has such ability. But he was a little surprised just now. Finn, who follows absolute correctness, actually made a request out of emotion. It is indeed rare, which makes him feel that Finn is much more real. But even if you don't say it, I will stay and watch her fight, Finn. Sioran will naturally not let Aisi stay alone. He decided to teach this girl well in the future. Hey, how can I let Aisi stay alone, even if there are Argonauts? What a joke, let a woman cover my retreat, and then run away with your tail between your legs. The senior adventurers of the Loki family are very dissatisfied with Finn's decision. It may be acceptable rationally, but it is not acceptable emotionally. Don't let me say it a second time, act now. The voice of the usually peaceful leader of the dwarf tribe suddenly became low and violent at this moment. The decision he made in this state will never change. The members who are familiar with Finn naturally understand. Then, no matter how unwilling they are, they must quickly prepare to evacuate. Argonauts, you must keep an eye on Aisi. Before evacuating, Diona said to Sioran seriously. She has a very good relationship with Aisi. Diona once saw the shadow of a stupid sister in the blonde girl. So since she joined the Loki family, she often acted with Aisi. The friendship between the two is very deep. Well, I will watch her. The Amazon twins left after receiving a positive answer. During this period, Aisi did not say anything. She believed in the judgment of her companions. As long as it is Finn's decision, it will not be wrong. This is the fact that they have been on expeditions together for many years. You said you would teach me to become stronger later. The girl's golden eyes stared at Sioran, as stubborn as ever. Ah, of course. So, show me your abilities here, Sword Princess. Sioran admired the girl in front of him. This was also a chance to get to know her. Wake up. Without any hesitation, Aisi sang the short text very quickly. As the song was finished, the wind in the cave gathered towards her, and then turned into light armor on her body. This was the girl's unique magic, Wind Spirit Sprint. The girl holding a silver rapier began to wander in the battlefield. The golden hair danced softly in the air with her. It was obviously a battle, but it had a different kind of beauty. Reading during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Recharge 100 to get 500 VIP points. Recharge now, event time, September 15th to September 17th. Chapter 42 Double Happiness, please subscribe. As if sensing the approach of danger, a crack suddenly appeared on the monster's upper body, similar to the face. The dark and smelly liquid attacked Aisi. The girl dodged flexibly with the wind. The liquid that fell on the ground instantly corroded a big hole. Aisi led the monster away while fighting, and the evacuation of her family members delayed time. Sioran noticed that both Fei Songxi's defense magic before and Aisi's wind magic now attracted the attention of this monster. It is very sensitive to magic power. Based on its reaction, Sioran made a judgment in his heart. In the field, when the distance between Aisi and the monster was too large, it opened its arms again, and countless phosphorescent powders reappeared. In a flash, the space was filled with fine particles. The amazing heat began to expand, and the magic hidden in the powder was about to burst out. Seizing the opportunity, Isai swung the sword upwards. The wind wrapped around the blade, blew away all the powder before it got close. Boom 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 boom. Then there was a violent explosion around Aisi, but she was not hurt. A beautiful decision, Sioran admired the girl's carefulness on the battlefield. The monster's powder will not explode immediately, after the powder is spread. It will take about 3 seconds for the explosion to occur, and Aisi perfectly seized this gap. The girl not only calmly responded to the monster's attack on the battlefield, but also observed its details. This kind of combat awareness and experience is worthy of praise. Very powerful, Sword Princess. Feyerwazi also noticed this. Because of her concern for someone, the elf girl has been watching the blonde girl's battle carefully since the beginning. Both her sword skills and combat intuition are very good. Feyerwazi affirmed Aici's strength. Well, she is indeed very qualified. But Feyerwazi, you are not bad either, I am very proud of you. Aici's talent is naturally very high, but Fiwa's storage is not bad. Especially after Sioran sublimated their own instruments, the evolution speed was amazing. Otherwise, she would not have achieved the feat of Leave 6 in just a few years. Hearing this, Feyerwazi tried hard to maintain her cold expression. But the joy in her eyes could not be hidden. I challenged the underground maze countless times, just to get his affirmation. Compared to the feat of achieving Leave 6 in a few years. Feyerwazi liked the title she got when she was Leave 2 more Guardian Fairy. She was his fairy, and nothing could make her happier than this. Every time she heard other adventurers say this title, she looked indifferent, but the deer in her heart was always full of joy. After comforting her own elf girl for a while, Sioran looked at the sword princess in the field. Aisi seemed to realize that she would be attacked by dust as long as she kept a distance. Therefore, she did not think about luring the monster away, and fought directly. Normally, such large monsters usually move clumsily, with many blind spots that can be attacked. Relying on past experience, Aisi constantly changed her position in the field. She attacked continuously from the side, front, and back in multiple directions. She tried to find the monster's blind spot, but all the attacks were taken. The back of the head, which was the most likely weak point just now, was protected. Earlier, Aisi tried to cut it off from behind. But when she came behind the monster, she found that the back of the monster's head had root canals similar to tentacles. Sensing Aisi's attack, it directly spit out several corrosive liquids from the root canals. Fortunately, with the protection of the wind, she was able to dodge it flexibly. The blonde girl wearing the wind armor kept switching angles in the field with the rhythm of the wind. Rather than a battle, it was more like a dance. But the dancer was no longer an ordinary girl, but a heroic Valkyrie. Not long after, a burning fire suddenly appeared in the sky in the distance. That was the signal that Finn and the others had evacuated. This also meant that Aisi could attack with all her strength. The girl was mainly pulling and pulling before, while looking for the monster's weakness. After seeing the signal, Aisi decisively accelerated the rhythm of the battle. As the wind moved, the girl easily cut off the monster's leg on one side of the lower body. The monster's balance was broken, and it began to attack in panic after being stimulated. Seizing the opportunity to attack again, Aisi cut off half of its arm. The girl realized that the time for a decisive battle had come, and she dodged continuously on the ground, as beautiful and gentle as a fluttering feather. Then she bent her knees slightly and appeared in front of the monster in an instant. The girl sang a song of victory. Micro-wind. Put the rapier in front of her, and then turned into a silver flash. Accompanied by the gust of wind, it directly pierced the upper body of the monster. The monster's body began to swell, and amazing heat rose in its body. Seeing this, Sioran first picked up Fairwazi with his right hand, and then hugged Isi with his left hand. 0. Well, double happiness. With complicated thoughts, he disappeared instantly. Boom. The violent explosion echoed in the floor, and at the same time, the boiling flames gradually rose. The amazing air wave destroyed everything in the center. In the worried eyes of the Loki family, Sioran walked out slowly with the two girls in his arms. The flames naturally parted around him, and he walked out of the flames like a leisurely stroll. Isi in his arms wanted to struggle out of her female instinct. But when she saw the violent beast transformed by the flames become docile in front of the boy, for some reason, she stopped moving. Ah! Let go of Miss Isi. A brown-haired elf finally came to his senses and shouted loudly at the boy. Sioran raised his eyebrows and then put Isi in his arms. After counting the remaining supplies, Finn gave up the idea of continuing the expedition. A lot of equipment was damaged in the previous battle with the worm monster. Just now, they evacuated in a hurry. Now that there are not enough supplies, it is not a rational choice to continue the expedition. After the discussion, the Loki family decided to return. Sioran came to the deep layer to complete the commission and unexpectedly saw a new monster. The goal has been achieved, so there is no need to stay any longer. So they followed Loki's family back to the surface. P.S. The picture shows Leffy Ya, she has blonde hair in the novel. Beggar. Chapter 43, Rain has nothing to do with me, please subscribe. On the way back to the surface with Sioran and the Rocky clan, a small incident occurred. When returning to the 17th floor, there were some minor accidents. When arriving at the 17th floor, several Minotaurs gathered at the entrance of the passage. They were over 2 meters tall, with strong muscles, and their red eyes stared at Sioran and his group who had just arrived. Their eyes were full of crazy killing intent and tyranny. This is a common monster on the 17th floor Minotaur. Its rough skin and strong strength have a great reputation among adventurers. Even the upper-level adventurers of 4.2. If you are not careful, you may fall into their hands. They are considered elite monsters in the middle layer. However, facing this group of monsters, Sioran naturally did not take action, and the upper-level adventurers of the Rocky clan did the same. Although the Minotaur is considered strong in the middle layer, but the gap between it and the first-level adventurers is like a natural moat. Generally speaking, for the clans that can expedition to the deep layer, the monsters in the middle and lower levels are left for the grassroots members of the family to accumulate experience points. The same is true for the Loki family. Finn handed the command rights here to Rahul, who he had been training. Let him arrange the grassroots members of the family to fight against the enemy. Rahul, who was originally seriously injured, has recovered after treatment. As a second-level adventurer of 4.4, he is naturally familiar with the behavior of these Minotaur. He is commanding the grassroots members of the Loki family in an orderly manner. However, the underground maze is always full of surprises. For some reason, the stone walls around the 17th floor cracked at the same time. The frequency of monster birth suddenly increased. There were only a few Minotaurs at first, but they increased to dozens in just a few minutes. Seeing this, Sioran was a little curious. Could it be that the deep mutation affected the middle level? There are too many. Isi, Dione, you also take action. Seeing the sudden surge of monsters, Finn decisively issued an order. This level of number has exceeded the limit that the members of the family can bear. The grassroots members who were originally in the upper hand in the battle to encircle the Minotaur. Faced with the sudden increase in the number of monsters, they gradually became unable to resist their attacks. But with the intervention of the first-level adventurers of the Loki family, the balance quickly tilted again. The fastest one was Isi. She was wrapped in a gust of wind and moved around the entire battlefield. She ruthlessly harvested the lives of the Minotaur. The second was the silver-haired werewolf bird, who was an agile adventurer himself. Relying on the silver boots on his feet, he used various leg skills to kick the monsters to pieces. He did not hide his fangs and bit the prey he had identified madly. Perhaps he was frightened by the exaggerated harvesting speed of Isai and the others. One of the Minotaur actually turned around and ran away, which was completely beyond their expectations. Then the panic spread like a virus, and several Minotaur followed and fled. Seeing this scene, Sioran became interested in the first Minotaur. A monster that originally only had the instinct to kill, actually knew fear. Hurry up and chase. Livalia, who was the first to react, suppressed the hesitation in her heart and quickly reminded everyone. But it was a little late. Wait, that's... Diona screamed, and she looked at the entrance of the passage connecting to the 16th floor. The group of Minotaur was heading towards that passage. In the underground maze, monsters in the middle layer generally do not appear in the upper layer. Otherwise, with the strength of those lower-level adventurers, they would face the slaughter of monsters in the middle layer. But now, because of the actions of Loki's family, some monsters actually began to escape to the upper layer. Although the monsters have no intelligence and do not know the specific route of the maze. But facing a large number of Minotaur, even if only one escapes to the upper layer, that will become a nightmare for all 4.1 adventurers on the upper layer. This is also a major dereliction of duty by the Loki family. The guild will certainly punish them after knowing it. The important thing is that the reputation that the Loki family has accumulated for a long time will definitely suffer a blow. Soon, Finn made a decision. He, S and Werewolf Bird, who are fast adventurers, will chase the fastest Minotaur first. The rest will be left to the other members to clean up behind. Sioran also followed, and he naturally would not let those monsters escape from the underground maze. The most important point is that he is somewhat interested in the Minotaur that escaped first. But he did not directly stop it before. Otherwise, with such a monster, how could it be qualified to escape in front of him? Sioran plans to do an experiment. He wants to know whether the Minotaur really has its own will. Or is it just because the sudden fear overcomes the instinct given by the maze? This involves his judgment of the underground maze. As for whether this decision will affect the lives of other adventurers, he could only say I have nothing to do with the rain. As the levels rose, when they reached the 6th level, the only people chasing them were Aisi and Sioran. There was no expression on Aici's face, but there was a hint of anxiety in her tone. As soon as she reached the 6th floor, she lost the trace of the last Minotaur. Here, Aisi. Sioran certainly did not chase after it, and he even deliberately slowed down his speed. Fei Wei Si certainly knew this, but did not ask much. For the elf girl, there was no need to know the rest. Just follow him closely, no need to say more. The Minotaur that ran to the 6th floor was the one that started to escape from the 17th floor. Sioran was a little curious, whether this Minotaur was too lucky. Or it had already borne wisdom and could miraculously run back to the 6th floor from the 17th floor. Roar. But it seemed to be the former. Swan Ran sighed. It was a waste of time. I thought I had encountered a Minotaur that had just borne wisdom. He also wanted to use this opportunity to understand the underground maze and verify his guess. Let's end it like this. In an instant, Sioran found the location of the Minotaur. The monster was facing a white-haired adventurer. The adventurer was wearing the simple protective gear distributed by the guild. Under the oppression of the Minotaur, he fled in panic, completely losing his composure. There were even tears flashing in his red eyes. Like a weak white rabbit, he was simply a novice in a novice's hands. With a flash of sword light, the Minotaur in front of the white-haired adventurer turned into pieces in the blink of an eye. The boy who was originally dodging in panic suddenly froze, as if the pause switch was pressed. A black-haired boy and girl appeared in front of him. Their appearance was not inferior to the gods he had seen, and even better. Sioran looked at the stunned White Rabbit boy and was a little speechless. Even if he was a novice, he was too unvigilant. He would not live long in the underground maze like this. But it had nothing to do with me. Without thinking too much, Changran turned around and left with Zhangxi. On the way, he met Aisi who was a step behind, and nodded to her to indicate that it was over. Then he and Aisi returned to the middle level, and checked if there were any missing Minotaur. After joining the team of the Loki family, they confirmed that all the Minotaur had been dealt with. Although this accident caused a lot of panic among adventurers in the upper and middle levels. But in the end, no one was injured, and there were no serious consequences. Thank you for your help, Jiran. We, the Loki family, received a lot of help from you during this expedition.